Hello, my friends. Guess what we have? What are these? Yep, they're napkins, and I'm going to show you how you can make paper beads out of them. So that's what is on our agenda today. Now, listen. I tried yesterday to put my napkin on some 65 weight cardstock, and it made the paper too heavy. These are some of the beads that I made out of the paper napkins that were on that cardstock, but they're too heavy. They don't want to go through my bead rollers very good. I have several sizes here. I have real teeny tiny ones that would make really little bitty holes, up to a bigger one. This would make a wider bead. This goes down a little bit on the hole. And so what I discovered was that it would be better, and I think I'm screaming at you guys, to put it on copy paper from the computer, from the printer, and that way the beads would come out. And I don't know if I can find any that were on, that I did on the printer paper. See, I did all these yesterday. And I don't know if I can find any that were on the printer paper. But what I'm going to show you is how you attach it to, how you put it on the paper, and how it will go through your regular Fiskars cutter. You can cut it this way. My cord keeps falling down. I don't know how I'm going to get it attached up there, but anyhow, you can cut them on this, and I'm going to show you when we get it attached to our paper. So I'm going to move you back just a little bit. Hang on, guys. I don't know what I'm going to do with that cord. It just keeps falling down. I'm going to have to get a piece of tape, I guess, and tape it up. Oh my gosh. What a pain in the butt. Let's see if that will hold it up for a day or two. Now I need to move you over this way a little bit. There we go. You're not quite straight. I'm sorry. I need to put something there to focus on. Alright, what we're going to do, I'm going to turn autofocus off, okay? I'll turn it back on if we need it. Alright, what we're going to do is the normal thing. We take the back off of our napkin. Let's see, I don't want to use that one. I want to use a real bright colored one. So I'm going to use this one and one piece of copy paper. Now my copy paper is a little heavier because I always buy the heavy kind of copy paper. So I'm going to get the backing off, and I showed you this in another video, but if you don't know where that video is or you haven't seen it, this is how I get the backing off. I run my fingernail over the corner, not too heavy to scrape in to tear it, but enough to loosen the two pieces. I don't scruff up my napkin. Usually this is enough to get the two pieces apart. Sometimes they're a little crazy and they don't want to come apart. See that? See? And I don't have to rough up my napkin and tear it. Now this one looks like it's going to get stuck on here. I'm doing it fast but gentle. Okay, save these white pieces. You might need them for something. They're good to stamp on and to collage with. Okay, here we go. We're going to use a glue stick. A glue stick. Yep, we're going to use a glue stick. We want a dry glue, because we don't want to wait for this to dry up. We don't want Mod Podge. We don't want any other kind of glue on here. Now, it doesn't matter with this napkin, but if you have a pattern that you want to put on the paper, then you center it on there with the pattern, but I don't care with this one. So I'm going to fold it back. Now you want to get along your edges really, really good. So I'm going to put along my edges, and this is going to move. And you only want to do so much at a time. You don't want to do the whole paper. So you just get it on there as best you can. And I use Yoo-hoo glue, so I like it, but when this one runs out, I will use my good old whatever else I have, school glue or whatever in the glue sticks. I've got a lot. Alright, so now I'm going to lay this down, move my glue stick, I'm going to put it down and just gently smear it on there. It doesn't matter if there's wrinkles, you can usually pull those wrinkles out. But you want to be gentle with it, you don't want to tear it. Make sure it's stuck to the edges. Okay. Now you're going to fold it back. You want to check and see if there's an edge there that is coming down on this other half. Okay, you want to glue this one, get it on your edges really good. Okay. Make sure you don't have any glue globs off the glue stick. I just want to make sure I got enough on there. Okay, then I put my lid on my glue. I don't know why. Then I'm going to fold this other half down and make sure I get along my edges really good. And there, you have it glued down to your paper. Okay, so I'm going to pick it up and wipe my mat off. And I'm going to kind of sit this one to the side for a little bit, let it dry, and we can do another one while we're waiting. However, that'll give us a lot of things to do beads with, but this one's just a little napkin of Nemo, but I have these scraps of napkins that I cut off that I can glue on the bottom part like so. Okay, so here we go. We're going to glue these on again. Oh, I got to take the paper off of Nemo. I almost forgot. Poor little Nemo. When they put one layer on, they put it through a machine, I think, that has these little dotty dots on it, so it sticks pretty good. Some of them have 3 of these white pieces on them. Okay, that tore a little bit, but I'm not going to worry about it. Still going to use it. So I'm going to put it on. I'm going to take it over so that piece isn't on there. pull this up and do my gluing again. So how's everybody doing this Sunday? Brights? You aren't going to believe this. We are getting up to 80 degrees today. Yeah, it's summer here again. And then this week, it's going to drop down. By next Saturday, the high is only going to be like 58, like it should be in this time of year. Yeah, we're having some global warming, I guess. Yoo-hoo on that global warming. Yeah, right. We won't get into that. Anyway, I'm going to put Nemo down. I'm going to put him as much as I can on the paper. He's just a little napkin. And we're going to do the rest of this just like I showed you before. Make sure these edges are glued. Because if you don't get your edges glued, now you don't want that big old glop of glue on here. I hate to waste it, but it'll just make a mess underneath this napkin. Okay, we're going to lay that down. Like so, and we'll lift it up a little bit. I didn't get all the way. Oh, I got an itchy nose. My goodness. That's why you always want to save your pieces that you cut off, because you can always find a place to use them. Okay, I'm going to put that right there. And butt it up right next to that other napkin. Don't overlap it. Alrighty. It doesn't take long for these to dry up, so that's why you want to use glue stick and not any wet glue, because that we'd have to wait days on that. And this works really good, so we'll set that aside and we'll come back to this one. And it's dry enough that we can trim it. I got some glue on the back of that page. I don't want to have glue on it. We can trim this off now. Then I'm going to show you how to roll them. I'm going to cut them first and then show you how to roll them. Probably all know how to roll paper beads, but I bet you haven't done any with napkins. Maybe you have, I don't know. I'm speaking out of turn here. I'm hoping that this is a new thing for you all. It's new to me. And I thought I would give it a try, and it worked. That way I don't have to paint my papers. I already have it on here for me. Okay, now there's two ways of doing this. You can cut your paper the long way, or you can cut it the short way, and if you cut it the short way, you get smaller beads like so. You get little ones, and if you cut it the long way, you get longer beads. So this one will cut the long way. Okay, I'm going to put it on my cutter with the napkin down. The paper up, the napkin down. And I'm going to, and it doesn't matter really if you get a sharp point at the other end, when you're doing your angles. You can have a little, you don't have to have a real sharp point, you just have to have it tapered. Okay, so I'm going to go to 1/2 inch. I got some glue on here, and I don't know if my thing's going to get stuck on that or not. Anyway, I'm going to go to 1/2 inch here. So I'm on my 1/2 inch line. Well, maybe that's 1/4 inch. I'm on my 1/2 inch line. And then I have this end up here on the cutting line. And I'm going to close that down. And if it moves, it's okay. Don't stress over it. It's just a bead. And just cut them, and it cuts just like that, just like butter. See that? Okay, let's do a couple. So now this one up here, you're going to put it on the 1/2 inch line, and you want this down here to be barely on your cutting, so you get a point at the bottom. It tapers down smaller and smaller. So you want this one up here on the 1/2 inch, this one down here, and you just cut like that. And you just keep doing that. Now you switch over here. Now if you wanted a 1/4 inch bead, you put it on the 1/4 inch line. And you cut, and you get this, okay? But if I'm going to make the longer beads, I kind of like them more at the 1/2 inch line. There you go. Okay, I'm going to cut a couple more, and then we're going to roll. Now if you don't want such a point on the end, you can move it over a little bit, just as long as you got a taper on it. See, I'll show you. See, now that one didn't get clear to a point. It's got a little square on the bottom of it. Let me turn autofocus back on. So you got a little square on the end. Versus a point like that one. So this doesn't matter. It just needs to come down to a taper. Okay, I'm going to cut a couple of these, or roll a couple of these and show you how we roll them. Now, if you don't have a bead roller, don't stress. Just use a skewer. Use a skewer, use a napkin, or not a napkin, a toothpick. Toothpicks are kind of hard. A paintbrush, end of a paintbrush roller, anything that it will hook onto. So I'm going to use this just to show you. Now I'm going to kind of bend my paper a little bit, kind of get it to go. Now if you want a fatter and heavier bead, you can put it on cardstock. That's no problem. Alright, so here I go. Maybe I shouldn't have rolled that one so much on the end. So it would lay down. Here you go. You get it started. And you hold your finger there. You can just get it started rolling. And I just leave it down on my paper and push really hard with my fingers. And just keep rolling and hold it on the ends. And keep rolling. And if you see it's going over, move it over a little bit. Keep rolling and rolling. Now this is not a skewer. This is a little dowel. So, you know, use what you have. You don't have to go out and buy bead rollers. Okay, so now what I have is I showed this yesterday on my haul. I have just a teeny tiny bit of glue in there, and I'm going to put it on the ends. This is why it's good to have these in a little point like that, because it just gets a little teeny bit of glue on there. Now you don't want to keep rolling this back and forth in your fingers, because the glue will stick to that napkin and pull it off. So you just want to hold it there for a minute and then roll your skewer or your dowel or whatever back and forth, and now you got a little bitty bead, but you got a big hole in it. See the big hole? But you got a small bead. You need to put them wider if you want to get a longer bead. Let me cut a wider one just to show the newbies that haven't done these. So if you want a longer bead, like the boho beads, you want to put this over on the inch. You want to put it on the inch, and you want to put this because you want to get it really angled, okay? So you have your top part up here on the inch, and you have your bottom part down here barely going to get a angle or a tip on it. And then you cut. Alright. Now you're going to get a longer bead, I hope. I think that's how you get a longer one. I'm pretty sure. A fatter one, you want to use heavier paper. Longer ones, you want to use a wider. Okay, this one I'm going to use my bead roller on. Now this is too skinny to get my paper through that. I would like to use probably there's a split in this. I don't know if you can see it or not. I'll hold it up. See, there's a split in that. You want to put your paper in between there. But if you're doing magazine paper, this is the one you probably want to use. Or you can use any of them, I guess. This is a little bigger, because that will make a bigger hole in it, and I can get my paper in that. But you see, that's not going to roll my bead very big, because my bead's too wide, my paper's too wide. So, where's the longer one? Well, I don't want my bead that wide, because I do have one that's longer. That's a real big long one that has a real wide. See, they're split like this so you can get the paper in there. I'm going to see if I can get my paper in this one. Yeah, I can get it in there, I think. Enough to get it started. Okay, you just want to get it in there until it gets started. And then you want to start rolling. And just, you don't want to do it too hard, because your napkin is very delicate. And you want to keep it pretty much even on the ends till you start getting to your taper. And then going to taper out just like the other ones. And I can roll really fast. I'm just doing it slow. If you want a longer bead, you make them wider than this. See how pretty that is with the napkin on it? And then you don't have to use, you need your napkins used up for one. And two, you don't have to color your paper unless you paint your papers unless you want to. So there's that one. And be really careful when you pull that off. So here's the difference between the two different. If you want a longer one, then you make a wider cut in your paper. So if you want a longer bead, you would go over to maybe 1.5, maybe. Okay, let's see what that will give us. I set this down on the floor next to my leg. Okay, let's see what this one. Now I know I'm going to have to use my longer bead roller on this one. So you want to start with your napkin side up, and you want to get it between your two slots on your bead roller. Sometimes I just give up on this bead roller and use my dowel. Won't go in between there. Sometimes you can pull them apart a little bit. Okay, I don't want it hanging out too far on this end because that rolls up into your hole of your bead, but enough to get it started. Okay, now you're just going to go around and around and around. Now if you have a 12 by 12 piece of paper, then you'll get really long beads. It all depends on how long your paper is. But see, if you do them wider, like 1.5 inches, you're going to get a long bead. And these you can decorate after they're done. You can wire them. You can put beads, gems on them. But I'm going to show you, I'm going to put some what's it called? Stickles. And some liquid pearls on these. And then I'm going to dip them in UT. And I'll show you how I do that. But I just wanted to show you how to. Now this one is a little tough to get it off, and I don't want to pull the inside. So I'm just kind of giving it a twist. And it comes right out. And see, there is your longer bead. So you have this size, and this size out of 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. But if you want a bigger piece of paper and you cut it the long way, you're going to get longer beads. But there's your three different sizes. So this one was a 1/4. This one was, this one was a 1/2, this one was 1 inch, and this one was 1.5 inches. Okay? And that's out of 11.5 piece of paper. Let me pull you up a little closer so it will quit take it off of autofocus. So it will quit giving you the heartbeat. I hate that. And I'm going to pull you in a little closer so you can see these beads. And that's how you do the paper beads with napkins, okay? So I'm just going to keep rolling my beads. And I'm going to decorate the ones that I have rolled and cut out some more. And I'm going to decorate them so they'll get dry. And then I'm going to dip them in UT. But first of all, I want to try the round ones that Peta Thompson makes, Miss Lady Petals. I think that's her YouTube name. She makes little round ones with a bead core in them. And I want to try to make one of those. She puts two pieces of paper. One is just straight. And then she puts another one that's smaller and it's really curved on top of the straight one. I want to try that, and when I try it and I get it down pat, I'll come back and show you how I did it. Okay? Alright, thanks for watching, guys, and I will be back when I get them decorated. Alright, bye-bye.